we partnered with competitors all the time, and it was very friendly. We have a very good reputation with all of our, call it legacy competitors.
One thing that I have learned as an entrepreneur is that you're bigger with collaborations. At IT by Design, we have turned 400 plus of our competitors into collaborators.
Talking to somebody and helping other MSPs with that journey, whether that be security or whatever it is, I'm happy to share those things. I don't hold anything back. The secret sauce, it's here.
Michael, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Sonny. How are you? Thank you.
Awesome. And it was great to see you in person last week in your office. Great company, great team, and congratulations on your growth.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I was happy to have you guys.
And I would like to start with your entrepreneurial journey, Michael. Where did you start? That was very interesting, and I want my viewers to get to know that as well. I love sharing entrepreneurial journey. And can we start there?
Yeah. Yes, it's an interesting story. I went to college and have a degree in biochemistry and was going to medical school and decided that I would rather work in computers versus people. So the summer of my first year, I decided to leave medical school, or not go to medical school, and to pursue a career in technology. And that's kind of where my career started. Did a lot of personal consulting work. Had a few different companies along the way. I had a company that automated paper. This is I'm old. So this is way back when things were just starting to come around. Helped a company go to electronic billing, Medicare, ICD-9 codes, things like that. That was kind of one of my first jobs. And I taught some summer courses, and that kind of evolved over the years. And then eventually, I'm going to do this kind of quick, fast, in a hurry. Started Ideal about 23 years ago. So it's been a journey, but fun. It's something that was a hobby and that I did in college. And back then there really wasn't a lot of college courses. It was more like, WordPerfect and Lotus were the classes that you could take. So that was about it.
And there are some details there that we will save those for the next episode, Michael, from you being an entrepreneur in many different industries, in more industries. Now, you are starting a new chapter in the new chapter of Red Helm. So what is the why behind rebranding everything?
It was a lot of different things, but primarily it's with the acquisitions and the size and the number of people. It was a way for us to kind of start over, refresh, get everybody kind of rowing in the same boat, rallied around the new name, picking a new name that was more, I want to say modern, but more indicative of what the approach was and what we're doing now, adding if you hear the story about how we came up with Red Helm, there's some flavors of the old, Ideal integrations in there. If you look at the logo, you can see that swoosh that was part of the old logo, but now it's this new kind of idea of going into the future and expanding, right? Bringing into this new path, which one path being one of our acquisitions, molding that into the name, and then also some, red being an indication of kind of strength and security, Helm being about security, but also being at the helm of IT with the MSP side. So a lot of different things in there, and involving a lot of members from all of the teams that were part of acquisition. So it brought them together to collaborate, to come up with the ideas of coming up with that name. And, it was a process because, a lot of people have an affinity or a attraction to the previous names and don't want to really let go. And, but that was a way to put pieces of it in there to let go, but then also bring everybody together. So it was a good process.
Yeah. And you acquired one of the biggest MSP in the channel called OnePath. So can you tell us a little bit more about your vision there? So what's the vision to go after bigger MSPs and having that collaboration or doing things together? So can you tell us a little bit more about your vision in the sense of your growth strategy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things there. I mean, obviously, just purely on the acquisition side, it's the inorganic growth that everybody's kind of aware of. But when we were looking and we saw one path, when we kind of did due diligence, there was so many similar things within the organizations, right? I remember talking to James, the CEO of One Path, and he and I, when we did like a town hall, we said, well, this is a 1+1=5. Like we could bring the two together. There was a lot of things that matched up from the MSP side, a lot of things that they did that we did not do that could fill gaps. And then on our side, the same thing. And then the overarching thing was the fact that we have a very big focus on security. Like a good portion of our business, Legacy Ideal was blue team, red team, purple teaming, digital forensics, and incident response. And that was one thing that we felt that we could bring in and add to the One Path, client base, across the board, and add value to that side. So I think the combination of all of those things are what made us, made One Path a very attractive opportunity for us.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And where do you see yourself as a company, as Red Helm, 3 years from now? So you're 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, just bigger picture. So if I'm MSP listening to this conversation, I can see if my future can be part of this whole growth story for the next 3 years.
It's a combination. Obviously, growth is our focus. We're gonna continue to grow the same that we have, both organically and inorganically. Our organic growth is actually very good this year. We're still looking for other potential acquisitions, but it has to be the right acquisition. It has to be the right fit, similar to what we had with One Path. That turned out to be a very good opportunity for us, and still is. We're still finding other ways to be better across the board. That was another benefit, is that we brought in some talent from the One Path side that complemented the talent that we had on our side. So we'll continue that type of growth. In the MSP community, I think it's both continuing to grow as an MSP, but also as an MSSP. It's a little bit different because we kind of grew from the ground up on both, right? So, a lot of people are either an MSP or an MSP, not both, or don't do both, at a high level. Our path for that helps us in the MSP community because of the security side. We have a lot of MSP partners where we become the security offering for them, and it's a combination of things. And I always say we play nice in the sandbox, and if you bring us to the dance, you lead. So it's never a competitive thing. For the 23 years that we partnered with competitors all the time, and it was very friendly. We have a very good reputation with all of our, I'll call it legacy competitors, where a lot of them are now channel partners, where they resell our security part, but they still do the MSP part. And what they saw is that the security portion of things allowed them to get into opportunities easier, if that was the first opportunity. And right now it's AI and security that can get you in the door. But we have those conversations, and then through that security opportunity, it drags MSP opportunity, which if we are partnering with that company, we do the security part, through them or on their behalf. It's theirs to sell to their customer. Right. But all the MSP, the drag, that goes to them, so it's been a really good opportunity to partner with other MSPs to bolster their security offerings. And the easy one is really the digital forensics, incident response, and red team, because most people, even if they do sell the protective or MDR type of security, they're outsourcing the red team side. We can bring that back in, marry the two, and again drag in the rest of the things, whether it be other security offerings or MSP offerings, to those partners. So to that community, it's been great. I've had a lot of good relationships. It's just getting past that idea or understanding that you can partner with somebody that's a competitor, and it can be friendly and advantageous to both of us.
100%. And that's my thinking, Michael, as well, that at IT by Design, we have turned 400 plus of our competitors into collaborators. Because I was MSP in Manhattan, and whenever in my peer groups, people in the beginning, when they looked at our 24/7 NOC, 24/7 global delivery center out of India, Philippines, but built with US service standards. And they wanted to use it, but they had a question, Sunny, what if I have a proposal with the customer and you have a proposal as an MSP? And I used to tell them that, hey, man, it's all about trust. And our future is doing a lot more with you as we want to be hero to you. And I don't see any conflict of interest, but slowly people trusting and sharing, and they have seen our track record and the evidence that we actually help them win more business from SMBs, because that's not our game. And then more and more MSPs started coming. So one thing that I have learned as an entrepreneur is that you're bigger with collaborations, and all you have to do is be very clear about your own values and mindsets and what do you want to do to make a difference in this world. And then attract right mindset people, means aligned mindset people, and combining those capabilities to create a new capability that is better for the marketplace. And that thinking brought in a lot of like-minded people, growth-minded people. And now we have 400 plus, and you visited our build it for the first time. And everyone there is just relationships. But two things that I do: one, relationships, authentic relationships. So really focusing on building authentic relationship with people, and then finding what are their unique capabilities and what are my unique capabilities. Can we do some collaboration to create more value for the hero target? And after talking to you, I'm like, you have so much. When we talk about unique capability or unique trademark strength, from the red team perspective, pen testing point of view, I mean, I don't see anyone doing it as well as you do this in the MSP space. So I think there's a lot of potential there to create collaboration with MSPs in terms of helping them with your red team capabilities.
Yeah, so I'm very similar to you in that, like, I'm a collaborator, and I've always been. Like, I if anyone would call me and say, "Well, what are you doing?" I have no problem talking about the path and how we approached it and whatnot, to give somebody a schematic to make it easier for them. If I can't protect my own house, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not good at what I do. So talking to somebody and helping other MSPs with that journey and to differentiate themselves, and whether that be security or whatever it is, I'm happy to share those things. I don't hold anything back. The secret sauce, it's here. You got to execute. That's always the hard part, right? I've had a very long relationship with the person that leads our red team. I've known him for probably 20 years. He and I did some stuff way back when. I would bring he and a few other people in to help with some security related issues. And this was back before, security was such a, prominent topic. He and I were talking. I said, well, he and I decided it's time for us to come together and build, something together. So he came on board and he developed and built, his name's 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗁. Hacker name is 𝗕𝗂, if you want to look him up, PYR0. There's a long history. So that's kind of it. He has a very long history in and a very well-known name in the industry, which has helped us. He's brought in a lot of good talent. A lot of our people we're teaching classes and doing things at DEF CON, Black Hat. So they're very integrated into that community, which is obviously very helpful. They're hackers by design, and they do a really good job. So I'm working on this constant, I'll call it blue team, red team interaction. So the other thing of that separation of church and state of, you got to get a third party for pen testing. Yes, for auditing purposes, but for security purposes, right? We have to check the box for the compliance and the audits, but our purpose with red teaming and blue teaming is for security. So if I can prepare you and keep you safe all the time, then by, intrinsically, you're going to be secure and then compliant. And so the audit will be a lot easier. There'll be a lot less things that'll come up because you're preparing constantly to be at that level. So that's kind of a differentiator if you ask me, from my point of view.
Yeah. So from MSP listening to this, I can see that collaboration with you if I'm looking for a best-in-class pen testing company or any kind of assessment that I need done from a third party.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'll go back to one of the things that you said earlier. It's like, that whole thing about trust. It's a valid question. When you bring somebody in to your house that does what you do, you worry about somebody stealing your business, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I can tell you that if you understand the concept of channel, it is a much better route to go to have an MSP that brings you lots of business than for me to come into that MSP, do a deal with them, and then take that one client. The math doesn't work.
Yep.
Not to mention, it ruins our reputation. The next MSP is certainly, they're not going to refer us because, well, they stole our customer. So we don't have that reputation, but I always say proof's in the pudding. So we have to prove that, right? Yeah. So like you said, you trust, you take that chance, right? If we do a good job and you see that we're doing a good job, and then you're starting to get that business, drag from us, both on the security and the IT side, you get more comfortable, and then the relationship takes off. I'm sure that you had to go through that transition of gaining that trust, and then they give you more business, right? Because they trust that you're not going to do anything to compromise their business. So yeah, really, it's just, having a conversation. I'm always happy to do that. You don't have to bring us business right off the bat, but if you have a red teaming kind of exercise, or even just want to go through the process or have a conversation, happy to do that. You'll see how we approach it, compare it to what you're used to. We're happy to do that. We can talk a good game. Like, I can talk about it. I like to prove it, right? Like, once we prove it and you see what we do versus what other people do, I think that we have a pretty compelling argument to work with us.
Well, that's awesome. And before we close, Michael, I loved what you shared during our dinner when I asked that question to the entire table.
Yeah.
That what is your greatest life lesson? The greatest life lesson that you have learned so far. I love your answer, and I want to share that with our viewers. So, what's your greatest life lesson?
Now that I think about it, I'll share this real quick, is family first, right? And that's true, but that's kind of outside of this. In business, what I shared with you is the concept of perspective and perception.
Yeah.
Right. And that perception is viewing a situation through your eyes, right? And not through the eyes of the person on the other side of the table. Perspective is viewing it through your eyes, and then having the ability to look at things from the other side of the table and take everything into account. You're going to be a much better person, leader, if you are able to be in a room and understand not just your side, but the other side, right? That helps you come to a solution, a conclusion, a mediation, all of those things when you take yourself outside of yourself and you're only the way that you look at things, and look at it from how the other person is looking at it. So that's my my life lesson that I'm very adamant about right now.
Yeah, no, I loved it. There's just so much depth to that perspective, and I think there is only one thing that one can do to grow, is that start looking at things through that lens. There is just so much gold in that answer. So thank you for sharing that.
It's not just business; it's life in general.
Life. Yeah. And I mean, even from business point of view, Michael, is at the end of the day, everyone is in the business of relationships, people at the end of the day. And I think with that piece, I think overall 360 of your life gets better, because personal, professional, you can apply that on both sides.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Last question, Michael. What's the best way for people to find you online?
Yeah, I LinkedIn, our website, whatever. If you want to, that's the other thing, is I'm very adamant about being available.
Yeah.
So, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find my information on the website. My email address is on there. Pretty easy to find me on LinkedIn and or our website, and happy to talk to whoever. If somebody wants to just talk about, hey, I'm trying to build my own security practice. Well, I could probably keep you from falling in a few potholes along the way. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, no, that is great. I think the channel truly appreciate that when someone shows up with that mindset, because then we're better together as the MSP channel, and a great way to think and make an impact and do more things with the collaborations, where 1 and 1 you say is 5. I normally say 1 When you put 1 right next to another 1, that's 11x.
Well, I aspire to get to your multiplier at some point. I'm at 5. I'll get to 11 now that I can use it after this.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Michael, for your friendship, your partnership. You guys are great people, great company, and I'm very excited about having more and more as our collaboration. And we truly appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.